Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is January 29th, and right now we are looking at the infrared slash visible satellite imagery. You can see the sun rising out towards the Pacific Ocean as we speak. We've got a storm system here. It's going to continue to pour rain into Vancouver Island and some of British Columbia today. And we've got another developing system out here. It's going to become quite another deep low, being a nice spin up here on the infrared satellite imagery. That'll be moving in over the next few days as well. We'll take a look at some of those details, and we will look at that as we go through the video here this morning, taking a look at the Doppler radar overlay, and you can kind of see how that is just moving right into Vancouver Island. It's going to be bouncing around here over the next day or so, and then that next strong frontal system will bring some additional rainfall here across Pacific Northwest. We'll look at some of those totals here as we go through the video. And of course, across BC, they've got rainfall warnings up here, and they got special weather statements as well. Again, high snow levels and flooding potential, and you can see some of these big rainfall amounts out there, 60 to 100 millimeters. So yeah, interesting stuff there. Heads up for that. For some flooding concerns out there, they're talking about the possibilities of some washouts and some landslide activity there across a lot of southwest BC and Vancouver Island as well. And you guys are probably noticing the warmth out there. You can see we did break the record high yesterday, smashed it by 4 degrees for SeaTac. Olympia, another record high. Look at Quileute, 65 degrees. And we're going to be even warmer today for some of these areas. The all-time January record high for Seattle is 64. We have an outside chance of getting there. Some of the models are saying right around 63, which would crush the record of 60 that is currently in place for the day today. And there is some high winds too that can be had down across some of the Northern California, Oregon border here, and some of Southwest Oregon, some of the higher terrain. Also, some gusts up to 65 miles per hour Tuesday night through Wednesday afternoon. And now looking at 7-day outlook here for eastern Washington, you can see the gradual cooling trend as we go towards the upcoming weekend here, with the chance of some rain and snow, mainly for the higher terrain there. But you can definitely see the highs are going to be cooling down quite a bit here. And this was issued yesterday afternoon. Now, taking a look at the day today, look at some of these temperatures out there, nice and warm. Look at the Oregon coast. You could potentially be looking at some mid and upper 60s for some locations. And again, lower 60s for Seattle and some of the Puget Sound, and pretty warm all the way up into southwest BC. Excuse me, of course, with the freezing levels being quite high across the region as well. And you can see some of that warmth into eastern Washington as well. I mean, look, some 50s out there across eastern Washington. Put this into motion for tomorrow, and you can see another very warm day. And then we start that downward trend as we get towards Wednesday and Thursday as we usher in a new air mass here. And we are going to cool things down as we go towards the upcoming weekends. You see highs by the time we get towards Saturday, only about 47, 46, 48 for Seattle, Portland, and Vancouver metro areas. And kind of see it get back to normal here across the Pacific Northwest. If we take a closer look at the European, you can see SeaTac, Boeing Field, and Renton there. Look at that, 63 degrees, 64 at Renton. And actually some places in Pierce County or southwest Washington might get up towards, maybe even the upper 60s here. Look at that, 68 degrees showing for the max temperature there. And if we look at the National Planet models, you can see today and tomorrow, that gradual cooling trend here as we go on in towards the following week. This is Eugene, pretty warm, and then that pattern change will be showing up and getting back down towards more near normal here. This is looking at Seattle. So again, yesterday we did set that record high, and we're going to probably break that again today. The record high today is 60, so heads up for that. And tomorrow we have an outside chance as well. 59 is the record high. We could be up towards 60 again. Now, looking at the North American model, this is 6-hour precipitation by type. And if I put this into motion, you can kind of see, again, this band of rainfall just kind of bouncing around Vancouver Island. That's in some of western BC, and that's why that flooding concern is ongoing as we just continue on in through tonight. Look at this, another heavy round of rainfall for Vancouver Island, and no snow expected just for the very highest peaks here. But most of this is going to be falling as rain, and then you can see that kind of include the Olympic Mountains as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning. And again, no snow expected across the Cascades except the very highest peaks, and then that next system will be rolling in here as we go on in through Wednesday morning. And again, very high snow levels and another round of heavy rainfall for western BC and Vancouver Island, and it'll be including some of the Oregon coast and the Olympics and some of the Cascades at times. But the big flooding concern is definitely southwest BC. Now, a wider view of things here. We've got the Hawaiian Islands to the bottom left, Washington State here, and you can see this activity just bouncing around Vancouver Island as we go on in through tonight and into tomorrow morning. Little bit of a break here before this next one is just winding up out over the Pacific Ocean. It's going to look nice on the satellite imagery here, and another potent frontal system will move through the area. This low will just kind of sit here and weaken, it looks like, as we go towards the end of the week. So it'll be spreading some additional impulses here across Pacific Northwest, but the big atmospheric river in warm conditions conditions here should be coming to an end as we go towards the end of the week, because you can see that frontal system move through, and the storm track probably pointed at California as we go through the extended. Now, taking a look at Quilly, you can see some gusty winds on the coastline there. Nothing too crazy, nothing like what you're not used to there on the Washington coast as some of these low pressure systems move by. If we look at Whidbey Island, a bit blustery as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning as well. But look down towards Gold Beach Municipal Airport. That's why the high wind watch is in effect out there. Look at some of these big gusts. A lot of these up over 60 in the ensemble runs, and you can see the control right around 58, but the mean is right up towards 60 miles per hour. Look at Siskiyou Summit down there. You're getting down towards I-5 in Northern California, but big winds across some of the higher terrain. Crater Lake, Klamath Falls as well. Can be expecting some strong winds out of the system. And also looking at maximum individual wave height, just kind of showing you that we do have increased wave action out there. There's that initial system. Then this next one gets spinning up as we go on in through Tuesday night and Wednesday. And look at some of this wave action just up and down, all the way from southeast Alaska, all the way down through California as we go through the end of the week there. And that we get more of a northwesterly flow potentially moving out across the area. Looking at Whistler, here we go. You can see, we're dealing with that atmospheric river activity, and we're going to be warm, and a lot of this is going to be falling as rain across a lot of the higher terrain at BC. And then the crash comes here, still progging that for about, Friday morning. Mount Baker, something similar there. Look at some of the freezing levels up over 10,000 feet at times here as we go through Wednesday, and then the crash comes. And Mount Hood, same thing here. Looking at the National Blend of Models, this is actually total precipitation in millimeters, but I just want to kind of show you how the persistent nature of this atmospheric river is just burrowing into Vancouver Island, and it's bouncing around as we go through tonight. Look at some of these heavy precipitation totals just continuing to impact western BC and Vancouver Island, clipping the Olympic Mountains at times. And that's why we had such a nice sunset today, actually, because you got all this atmospheric river activity moving here. Actually, a little bit of a break in the clouds, so it made for a nice scene here as the sun was able to get underneath some of that cloud deck as the atmospheric river is a bit further west into Vancouver Island. But as we continue on in through Tuesday morning, you'll see Tuesday night come and Wednesday morning, and then that next system rolls in here. So still a couple rounds of very heavy precipitation across western BC and the Olympic Mountains, picking up some nice amounts. Also, some of the Cascades. You can see much lesser amounts, especially across the rain-shadowed areas to the northeast of the Olympics and across some of the Puget Sound down towards Oregon as well. Now, taking a look at the snow depth in centimeters, this is the GFS. So this kind of captures what's going on here, and you can kind of see we're going the wrong way. We're eating away at our snowpack here as we go through tonight into tomorrow morning. Then we head on in towards Wednesday morning here, and we're still kind of decimating some of that snowpack, especially at some of the lower elevations here. You can see really doing a number here on Vancouver Island and the Olympic Mountains before maybe we start to build it back here as we go towards the end of the run. But even then, it doesn't look like that favorable of a pattern for building up snow across some of our mountainous areas. So kind of concerning on that front here. We'll continue to watch that. Things can still change, of course, at that time frame, but the next few days are not going to be kind to the snowpack out there. And this is looking at the GFS. This is hot off the presses. There's been some very cold air up here across Alaska, and you'll see it kind of spilling out over the Gulf of Alaska, and that's powering this pattern change in that frontal system all the way, from western BC all the way down through California here. And you can see that Arctic air try to make a little bit of its progress to the south, but this is no Arctic outbreak coming for the Pacific Northwest. Just a little bit of cooler weather moving in here with this record warmth associated with the atmospheric river. So yeah, we're not looking at any kind of an Arctic outbreak here in any the short-term models anyway, not within the next week or so. And we'll just continue to watch that as always as we go. And the European showing something similar here as well. You can see that Arctic air spill out and power this next system and bringing that frontal system across the west coast. Tries to make a little bit of headway down into BC here, but you can see it doesn't, no Arctic outbreak incoming. Taking a look at Seattle, Tacoma, I mentioned this as you look into the extended a few days ago. You saw some of those temperatures showing up in the mid-20s, and it might have showed up in your smartphone briefly. I told you to wait a couple days, and sure enough, we're back to normal here. Arctic air is, sometimes it'll show up and start to trigger people on the smartphones, and I get a bunch of people asking me about it here, so I just wanted to kind of nip that in the bud. Here's Vancouver, something similar there as well. This is in Celsius, so above freezing for the most part. This is Spokane, dropping down a little bit here, but, nothing too crazy. This is Helena out there in Montana. A little bit of chillier air on the way here, but no major Arctic outbreak for sure. And if you want a nice, affordable home weather station, click on that link down below to save 10% off. Totally wireless, lightning detection system. It's got an ultrasonic anemometer, haptic rain gauge. It even does UV index and ambient light and solar radiation. It's a really nice system. system, and it all goes to your smartphone, stores all the data for you in the cloud. Highly recommend that station. Click on the link down below to save 10% off. And yeah, what else do we have to go on here? This is going to spin up quite nicely tomorrow, so you'll probably see me post about that in social media as we go through the day today as that storm system develops. And then we're going to get that pattern change here. But man, yeah, this warm air, you can see it making its way all the way up towards the Yukon and the Northwest Territories, just really doing a number on our snowpack here and the record temperature. So get out there if you can. Pretty dry here across some of western Washington and down towards western Oregon today. It would probably rain at times across some of the Vancouver metro up there, and of course across Vancouver Island and some of the higher terrain, especially that atmospheric river continues. But get out there and enjoy that today. It's going to feel downright balmy again, even warmer today potentially than yesterday's 61 degrees. So yeah, you're going to notice it. But anyway, hope you guys are liking these videos. We'll continue to break everything down as we go through the day tomorrow and tomorrow's briefing, and I will talk to you guys then.